This is Politics Tonight, everyone. Welcome and thank you so much for joining us this evening. I am Olajumoke Olatunji. President Tinubu seeks National Assembly approval for 1.767 trillion fresh external loan. Tonight, our focus is on Adamawa State as we shall be discussing infrastructure development under Governor Madu Fintiri. And I will be speaking with Dr. Umar Garba-Pella, is a Commissioner for Information and Human Capital Development in Adamawa State. Welcome to the program, everyone. Stay with us. I'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. The once battered education in Adamawa State now wears a new look. 5 years into his administration as governor of the Northeast State, Governor Madu Fintiri is working on delivering his mandates to the people of the state in various sectors, including education. Let's share this report by TVC News senior reporter Olabi Adenusi.
Before now, Adamawa State was at the bottom in the West African Senior School Certificate and National Examinations Council performances. That record lasted for a while, but the story is now different, as the state sits at the second position nationally and first in the Northeast region. Primary and secondary school education is free in the state, with the state government taking responsibilities for WAEC and NECO fees.
We are reviewed and harmonized education policy, where at the moment you can have a one-stop shop as far as policy is concerned in terms of education. This has been able to domesticate all the national policies that are related to the sector.
On its part, the State Commissioner for Rural Development says the Fintiri administration has touched almost all rural communities in the state with developmental projects.
One landmark project which we embarked on, which we started in 2024, is the construction of 42-kilometer road from orientation camp in Gire local government, passing through Lambodo to Borong in the Amsal local government. The project is still ongoing, and I'm sure by the time it is completed, people from that area will benefit from the gesture.
In no distant time from now, courtrooms in Adamawa State will be fully digitized to meet up with international best practice.
In pursuit of excellence, the Adamawa State government has prioritized modernization of judicial infrastructure, renovation and upgrading efforts at High Court complexes A and B are near completion.
Other commissioners took turns to reel out their achievements.
Upgrade and expansion was also carried out in the following hospitals. Numan General Hospital, we have a female surgical ward, pediatric ward, theater complex, laboratory complex, and mortuary.
For the Child Development Directorate, we mostly work in collaboration with UNICEF, which have enrolled 152 adolescent children into various skills acquisitions.
On the first day of the event, 9 commissioners have so far given account of their stewardship, while others are expected to have their turns in the coming days.
And now joining me virtually from Yola, the capital of Adamawa State, is the Commissioner for Education and Human Capital Development, Dr. Umar Garba-Pella. Doctor, good evening to you. Thank you so much for joining us on Politics Tonight. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, and good evening to you all.
Good evening to you. You know, for some of the conversations I've had with cabinet members of the Fintiri administration, it looks like the governor is on the verge of changing the state's poor development narratives. And I remember very well that Governor Fintiri, before and after taking over the affairs of the state, promised to give the people of the state a breath of fresh air and make the state work again in line with his 11-point agenda. What has changed?
Well, when you say it's on the verge, it's virtually an understatement. The federal administration has changed the narrative in Adamawa State in virtually all the sectors. And that is why the working slogan is leaving no one behind and leaving nothing untouched. So far, so good in all the sectors, as was presented or has been presented by all the commissioners. You can see that so much is happening, and we are really happy, and every son of Adamawa State is proud of the governor and his work in the state.
So about specific projects now, Honorable Commissioner, because it's interesting to see that just recently, the federal government honored him as the best governor in infrastructure. So if as a stranger, I visit Adamawa State today, how has Governor Fintiri transformed the landscape of Yola, that's the state capital, and other major towns?
Whoever was in Yola 5 years ago will certainly attest to the fact that the awards that the governor has been winning back to back, especially in infrastructural development, is a merited award. And I assure you that if you were in Adamawa State 5 years ago, if you come back today, you may get lost. So much has happened, and beyond just the infrastructure is the fact that he has been able to touch on critical sectors like education, like health, like rural development, like the environment, virtually everything. Like I said earlier, we are leaving nothing, no one behind, and we are indeed leaving nothing untouched.
So I wanted it to be very specific with the project, but I mean, moving on, are you saying that truly there is an infrastructure revolution going on in Adamawa State? And if you could still go on with mentioning some of these specific projects. And also, what is the impact of this on the economy of the state?
Well, to be more specific, the roads are looking better than ever before. If you come to Adamawa State, it's more like Dubai. In Yola, it has become more like Dubai. We have been able to construct more of the roads and link the urban centers with the rural centers. The rural roads are doing well, from Yola to virtually all the local governments, 21 local governments in the state. Everywhere is accessible. Our farmers are doing well on the farms. Agriculture, we have been able to buy enough fertilizers that can make them go back to the land. Every people are now happy and proud that are proud of the narrative being changed with the agricultural sector. The most fundamental thing about this governor is his vision for the state. And the vision is simple. We are committed to ensuring that we bring a state who was ranking among the 5 bottom of the list of development to the first 5 top states in the country. So I assure you that all of us are happy. The schools are better. We have introduced the free education policy, and it's working. The free education policy is anchored on about 5 strands and about 7 strands, and every aspect of that policy is on a very good footing. As I speak to you, public schools, like I said earlier, are accessible, and the quality is good. Initially, when we came, we thought our investment in this sector, especially the social sector, mostly is an investment that takes long for you to begin to see results being manifested. But we are paying WAEC and NECO and every other national examination free for all children that are attending public school. So, and this investment has yielded so much result today that as I speak to you, from the first 2-3 years ago, there's no year that our students will not be performing better than any other students in the country. They are making results that is highly commendable. And just this year, we have recorded results that indicates that the majority of the students are having 5 credits and above. And what this means is simple, that we have qualified students now, qualified children coming out of our schools that are qualified to proceed or to transit to the tertiary institutions. We'll
come back to the education sector, but it's interesting to hear you say there's facelift in Adamawa State at the moment, because at some point, Governor Fintiri's administration was described as the first political revolution in the history of Adamawa State. But what would you consider as the challenges of governance in the state?
Hello?
What would you consider as the challenges of governance in the state?
Well, fundamentally, governance is broad, and certainly in this age where resources are limited, and even with the nature of the economy, the biggest challenge is accessing the resources that will be able to fund the kind of dream that the governor has at the moment. With the little we have been able to do much, but the biggest challenge is the fact that the economy is nationally, the economy is in shambles, and the dreams are high. Perhaps the expectations are also high. Majorly, that is the real thing: resources.
Talking about infrastructure, where are we on the reconstruction of the Yola Town market? And a lot of persons are wondering why the reconstruction of that market is gulping a whopping sum of 2.9 billion naira.
Well, it's more of the market is demolished, being reconstructed, because it represents an architecture that does not fit into the moment. If you remember, if you are on track and checking the records of the market, it's a market that has been burnt more than 3 times because of the nature of the congestion that is in the market. And the government decided to demolish everything and build a new one with a modern architecture, good design that can accommodate all the traders and make business or transactions in the market habitable. So truly, if you say you are talking about 2.something billion naira as being much, but I believe that there's nothing too much for the people of Adamawa State, especially for the traders that are in the market and anybody that is coming into the market to do transaction. The basic thing is that these are kind of investments that will yield, and it's very good for the state, because no amount is too much to build a market that at the end of the day might be able to generate more revenue and pay back. Perhaps also defray the cost of building the market.
So when is it likely that full commercial activity resume in this market?
It's a market that we have already given the deadline to all the contractors that have been mobilized to the site, and we are targeting that the market will be completed and commissioned in the next 10 months.
All right, let's deviate a bit, because some APC chieftain, including the former speaker who worked for Binani in the last general election, recently defected to the PDP. Is this part of bargain with Governor Fintiri for 2027?
Well, Governor Fintiri is not seeking an election in 2027. But perhaps what he's doing is what is attracting new members into the party. I might not be in a position to speak for the party, but I do know that every citizen of Adamawa, irrespective of whether he's in the opposition or in the ruling party, is happy and proud of what the governor is doing in the state. And if what he's doing is what is attracting people, we welcome them at all times. But certainly, whether opposition or not, the most important thing is that we are passed over the period of election. What we are more concerned with at the moment is governance, and that is what we are getting from the governor of the people. All
right, doctors, you're the Commissioner for Education and Human Capital Development. Adamawa has a working age population of 2.8 million and a labor force of about 1.6 million. But with a 54.89% unemployment rate and 24.67% underemployment rate, while about over 700,000 do nothing. What is this administration doing to invest in young people, especially in the area of job creation?
The issue of job is a fundamental issue nationally and perhaps even globally. But the situation in Adamawa State is also not different from other states in the country. The reality is that perhaps we need to recalibrate the kind of education we give people. we must be able to give people education that can give them jobs. Because the greatest challenge of every generation is to keep their productive forces out of work. So we have realized that as a government, and that is why there's emphasis, especially in trying to emphasis on providing technical education and emphasis in ensuring that we keep our productive forces busy. At the moment, the government is the only government, perhaps, because I've moved around this country, I've not seen the Ministry of Entrepreneurship. The innovation, the ingenuity of the governor is what made him to establish at inception in 2019 when he came into power, he established the Ministry of Entrepreneurship Development to be able to equip our people with the right skill sets to survive in this century. Part of the fundamental reason that keeps people unemployed is the expectation that government must provide all the jobs. There are no jobs in government. Anywhere in the world, the real people that provide jobs are the private sector. And that is why the government has today been able to improve on its ease of doing business. We have moved from about 27 positions as far as the ease of doing business to as low as 9 positions in the country. We expect to move lower than that and perhaps become the first, if not the second, as far as ease of doing business is concerned. So we are promoting a good environment for private sector investment. We are also ensuring that our people have the right capital and the right skill set to be able to survive and fill in the unemployment gap that exists at the moment.
All right. Now let's talk about a significant crisis in Adamawa State, which is the out-of-school children crisis. Well, about thousands of children, particularly in rural areas, remaining outside the formal education system. So what level of commitment or priority is given to the education sector in ensuring that every child have access or has access to quality education?
Fundamentally, the issue of out-of-school children, as you know, Nigeria shares the largest burden. The North shares the largest burden, perhaps, and Adamawa State has its own fair share of the slice of the burden. But the reality is that we, as a ministry and as a government, we are committed to reversing this trend, and that is why we are launching aggressive campaign for school enrollment and providing the right facilities in schools, and also coming up with strategies to ensure that every child has access to education. Fundamentally, we are dealing with this in about, let me say, 2 ways. The first way is the enrollment campaign, which is ongoing. And the other one is also creating another corridor for anybody who missed out. The understanding is that there are people who must have missed out. And the strategy is those who miss out must not be left out. And that is why we are doing both the formal sector enrollment and the informal sector enrollment. The formal sector enrollment is the normal campaign for getting people into formal schools. The informal sector enrollment is that one that try to reach out to those people who might have missed out and at a particular age might not be willing to go back to the basic education. We are partnering with a lot of partners. At the moment, we have worked with the USAID-funded Opportunities to Learn. The Opportunities to Learn, the most interesting is that they came and demonstrated something that we have adopted. The ABEB, we call it the Accelerated Basic Education Program. They tried it in 4 local governments in the state, and we saw the merits and the merit in it. And as a government, we decided to take it over and scale it to only 21 local governments. As I speak to you, we have over 1,000 informal education centers in the state, and a lot of adults are enrolling. So it's really fundamental that we get this.
Absolutely, and I'm wondering what data
of our population back to school.
Absolutely, and I'm wondering what data this administration is working with, because I mean, you would agree with me that for this advocacy, for this strategy to work, you must be working with some set of information. So can you ascertain the number of out-of-school children in Adamawa State at the moment?
Let me be very clear with you. Anybody that tells you that he has an exact statistic of out-of-school children in Nigeria is just talking.
No, when I'm talking about Adamawa State, not in Nigeria. Adamawa State.
No, that is in Nigeria generally. In Adamawa State, nobody can tell you the exact number because they are always.
What number are you working with?
At the moment, we have been able to get over 10,000 children back to school. There may still be others out there, and we are looking for them. We have also been able to domesticate the basic education law that makes it compulsory for every parent or guardian.
So when you say you're looking for them, Honorable Commissioner, what exactly do you mean? Are they not in Adamawa State?
I don't think, as far as we know at the moment, there are out-of-school children really that are Adamawa indigenous.
I wonder what that means. But, you know, there are reports of unqualified teachers in some public schools in Adamawa State. How is your ministry handling this?
Well, the demand for teachers is high, and perhaps the gap is still there. Qualified or not qualified, the most important thing, we must have people to teach. So we are doing so much to make sure that those who are not qualified are qualified. And that is, we are doing that by training most of them. As I speak to you, we have a partnership with NTI in ensuring that we build capacity of these teachers to be able to have the qualification to remain in the classroom. The reality is that the strategy is not to sack people. The reality is, however bad anybody is, you can be able to build his capacity and give him the right arsenal to remain to be a good teacher. So that is what we are doing.
But also,
our strategy is not that one of searching anybody who is not qualified. Our strategy is to be able to qualify anybody who is not qualified. And that can only be done by training and more training.
All right. You know, before I let you go tonight, also what considerations are given to children not to only have access to learning centers, but also safe schools? Well,
we have been able to, in all our schools, we have put in place a safe environment for learning, and also put in a desk for triggers. Or if you are feeling unsafe, you can always raise alarm, and we fix the situation. Our schools, we have improved the security situation of the schools, and most of the schools are being fenced at the moment. The hostels are being fixed, and I believe that most of our schools are most of our students are psychologically in a good form, balanced in a good form to learn. So the issue of safety of children in school is something that is of top priority, and we are looking into that.
All right, Dr. Pella, sadly we're out of time, but I'm not sure we're done with this conversation, so we should have another time for this. But thank you so much for joining us this evening.
I'm actually looking forward to more time to discuss this with
Absolutely.
you, to showcase Adamawa State and what we're doing. Our government is doing wonderfully well.
Absolutely. Commissioner for Education and Human Capital Development, Dr. Garuba Pella, thank you so much for joining us on the program tonight.
Thank you, and it's my pleasure to be here all the time.
And thank you so much for watching, everyone. That marks the end of today's episode of Politics Tonight. But you can watch the repeat broadcast of this episode at midnight. Get in touch with us on our social media handles, Facebook, Instagram, and X at TVC News NG and at Olajumoke using the hashtag Politics Tonight. We're also on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I am Olajumoke Olatunji. Good night, everyone.